Okay. Good morning. Good afternoon. How is everyone doing today? Yeah, Ayakami thought he was the first one on the stream. No, we have Patel first on the stream. Good to have you with us, Patel. Hey, Kalechi, how are you doing? And again, hi Ayakame. Hey, Pips Apprentice, good morning. Hey, Erwin. Hey, Jumarinas, how are you doing? Good morning. Today is Non-Farm Friday, non-farm payrolls, non-farm employment change, US employment data to be released at 9:30. Is this 9:30? Yeah, I think it's 9:30 p.m. GMT plus 8. So we will be preparing for the non-farm payrolls today. The non-farm employment change data to be released there hasn't been too much happening so far on the charts. So I think it's a good opportunity to, it might be a bit of a quiet session all the way in the lead up to the NFP. So it might be a good opportunity to prepare and look at some possible trade setups. Okay. Hey Christina, how are you doing? Good morning. Just checking. We are live also on TradingView, yes, and we're live right across the board. Hey Sirin, how are you doing? Good stuff. Okay, and hey, if you are new to the session, do drop a message, say hi, let us know where you're joining us from. I do seem to, or well, I've noticed that we've seemed to get 1 or 2 new viewers finding this stream. So if you're new, do drop a message, say hi. The link is there for the Discord channel. I'm pretty sure most of you have joined already. If you haven't, do make sure you join the Discord channel. Yesterday we had a nice trade setup for the USCAD moving down 40 pips. If any of you caught that, let me know. Hey Linley, how you doing? Sirin says crazy move over gold, crazy over gold moves. Gold has been on that upward trajectory, sitting in a bit of a consolidation right now. I did take some trades to the upside, but right now I think it looks like we might see a bit of a consolidation, a bit of a retracement, or rather we possibly need a bit of retracement to support further upside. All right, so we shall see. We should talk about gold shortly into the session. Ayakami said, I want to know, has NFP data ever gone above 300 to 500 before? Not from memory. I think not from memory. I can't remember how much it got up to. I know it's got really, really low before. During the financial crisis, it's got really, really low. I can't remember how high it's gone. We can have a look at that shortly. Okay, but for all the regulars, a big welcome back. Thank you for joining me again. Unfortunately, next week I am off on my travels again. I do like to travel, so I am off on my travels again. I will be aiming to upload, I can't do live streams, timing just doesn't fit, but I will be looking to upload analysis videos on the YouTube channel. So if you haven't already, for everyone who is watching right now, if you haven't already, do remember to head onto the YouTube channel, click that like and subscribe button, the like for this stream and the subscribe button for the channel, just so that you get notification whenever I go live and also whenever I upload a video. Okay, Erwin says still in oil trade, took some profits, very nice. I don't trade oil, but we can have a look at that shortly as well. Okay, so before that, a quick disclaimer. Any information contained on this webinar should not be construed as advice and is presented as educational material. Please remember to do your own due diligence, as the contents of this webinar are not intended to be a trade recommendation or recommendation to a financial product, and your objectives, financial situation and needs has not been considered, and you should consider its appropriateness to your circumstances. And also with this disclaimer, I have to keep repeating this over and over, because on a daily basis I get people messaging me on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on Instagram, asking me about a Telegram channel or multiple Telegram channels that is supposedly they thought that it was me, but it's not me. I do not run any Telegram channels. So if you see any Telegram channel with my name or my face, please report it. It's not me running a Telegram channel. I do not run any trade signal channel on Telegram. I do not run any investment, crypto, investment, equity, futures, options, whatever investment things on Telegram. So please be super aware and take note of that, okay? With that, hi Jimmy, how are you doing? Hope you're well. Hey Glenn, good morning. Hey Gorju, good morning, how are you doing? Now, Ayakami had a question about how high did the NFP go, and just for the sake of figuring it out, hey, Feb last year we got to 517k. August in 2022 we got to 528. We got 622. I think that was a bit of a significant outlier because of recovery from COVID. We had 900 in 21. So those are during COVID periods. It's just gone a bit crazy. 900 again. So we do get crazy numbers. I don't actually. It's odd. I think you have to take some of these numbers with a big pinch of salt, because I don't remember these numbers. I don't remember any of these numbers. So it's a bit surprising to see these numbers right now. Right? I distinctly remember that I distinctly remember trading these numbers. No, where was it? I distinctly remember trading these numbers with a bunch of traders when it came down to 69, those kind of numbers. But I'm a bit surprised. To be very honest, I'm a bit surprised to see these numbers. I don't remember these numbers at all. So odd. Maybe it came out as such a crazy number, I just blocked it out. But I don't remember those numbers at all. Yes, today we do have the non-farm payroll or non-farm employment change numbers to be announced. That's happening at 9:30 p.m. GMT plus 8. It was 353k, expected 198. I'm not going to, Pip's Apprentice is asking, poll, please. I'm not going to run a poll, but I would like all of you, anyone watching right now, to put it into the chat. What do you think the number is going to be? All right, do you think it's going to be above 200? Do you think it's going to be above 200? Or do you think it's going to be below 160? There we have it. Okay. Do you think that the non-farm employment change number tonight is going to be above 200 or below 160k? Put it into the chat and let me know. Put it into the chat and let me know. Good morning, Diana. How are you doing? I'll give you a couple of moments to do that as you put it into the chat. Above 200 or below 160. And I'll do a quick review of what has happened. While you do that, I'll do a quick review of what has happened since the last time we spoke. So last night at 9:15 p.m., right? I did not trade this news event. I did not trade last night at all. I was out on a Taylor Swift concert. Those of you who are following me on Instagram probably saw some uploads. So I'm not, I wasn't trading. I was out on Taylor Swift. Don't judge me. It was a very good concert. It was a very, very good concert. So I did not trade that. I was only catching up on the news today as well. The main thing is the ECB held rates at 4.5%, and during the press conference, the headliners were that the economy remains weak. Surveys point to a pickup this year, so economy is going to pick up this year. The impact of past increases will gradually fade, right? So past increases, what President Lagarde means by past increases is past increases in interest rates will gradually fade. Inflation to decline to target. Long-term expectations mostly stand around 2%, so they expect to get to their target level. Risk to economic gain remain tilted to the downside. Disinflationary process, or not deflation, but disinflationary. Making progress, not sufficiently confident on inflation. We'll know a little more in April, a lot more in June. Okay, so because of that, decided not to cut rates. I was a little bit surprised, given that we will not wait until we are at 2%. Okay, so we'll not wait until we're at 2%, means they will possibly get in a little bit earlier. I think that a couple of months ago, we were talking about the ECB possibly cutting rates in summer. So we're looking at the summer months, anywhere from June to maybe June-ish time. We might see them doing a rate cut, possibly around the same time as the FOMC. But why I was a little bit surprised is the initial approach, or the initial statements that the economy remains weak, and that they did not cut rates. Yet we saw the euro push, right? It bounced off the trend line. So very nice trend line we had there from yesterday. It came down, did not break through, did not trigger my sell. So we'll take that away, just so that it's a bit easier to see. It came down, bounced off the trend line, and pushed significantly higher from the news. You can see this was at 10, right? So at 9, when the data was released, it came down, tested the level. Surprisingly, why I say surprisingly is because it sounded like a little bit of a dovish statement, but yet we still saw the euro pushing to the upside, right? Pushing to the upside, bouncing off from that 38.2 level at 108.70 to push up, and now consolidating at 109.46 or 109.50. So consolidating at that point. So a little bit surprising there. Then with that, okay, sorry. And then we had Chair Powell testifying. Again, no big surprises here. Said we're not far from confidence to cut rates. We'll decide, or we'll react when they finally cut rates. Economy does as expected. If economy does as expected, we can think carefully. Removing restrictive stance of policy will begin over course of this year. Sounds like, from this, it sounds like he's pushing it down the line because they're looking to, right, repeats, well aware of risk of waiting too long to cut rates, repeats, expect, I don't know what expect later this year, easing later this year. So because of that, what we have seen on the CME Fed Watch tool is now a rate cut decision in March, almost 95 or at 95%. It's dropped slightly. It was 96. It's dropped slightly into 95. Not a material drop. In May, it's at a 73% chance of staying at the current level. Oops, go away. And then in June, we're back to that 25% chance, a 75% chance for a rate cut. So it's getting pushed down the line. I would have loved to have seen it cut in May, but right now it looks like a more likely scenario to be in June. Then everything else is all done. Today we do have the non-farm employment change number to be released. From the poll, we've had Jimmy with 390k, very hawkish. Pips Apprentice with above 200, very hawkish as well. Syrian expects pretty much no change or not a big reaction at between 160 to 200. Jew Marinas above 200. Dinah says it will remain as it is, so around that 160 to 200 range. Ayakame thinks above 200, 200, 250, very hawkish. Hey Angel Case, how you doing? Hey YJ, how you doing? Hey Jamil, hey Nav, good morning. Okay, so what's interesting here? Let me check TradingView. Goju says above 200. Okay, so what's very interesting here is that a lot of you, and this is a small sample size, I know, but a lot of you are thinking that it's going to be a hawkish number. It's going to be a good strong number above 200, right? Above 200. Not saying that it cannot be, right? Not saying that it cannot be above 200. I don't know what the number is going to be. My guess is as good as your guess. Possibly your guess might be better. I might be overthinking things, you know, but I'm a bit wary that there might be an over expectation that is going to be a good strong number, right? And you can see that. So this is how I would look at it. I'll see that January was 216. We could attribute that a bit to the festive period in December. February at 235, at 353, sorry, at 353. Very good numbers there. All right, we've had very good numbers, and I don't think the very good numbers is going to sustain all the way. Okay, not usually. I don't usually do this, but you can see that sometimes after very good numbers, we do tend to have a good retracement. After very good numbers, we do have a bit of a retracement. Now we've had a series of good numbers. I'm actually thinking, I'm actually thinking that we might see a bit of a retracement. That's why I gave you that range, you know, above 200 or below 160. I'm actually thinking maybe even 140 something. I'm actually thinking maybe even a 140 something, right? So I'll take the other side of the bench and anticipate maybe a bit of a weaker dollar to continue, or weaker employment number leading to a weaker dollar. One reason why I think that is if you scroll back, or as I scroll back, you see that ADP wasn't doing very well. Yes, ADP is not a direct correlation to the NFP, but ADP wasn't doing very well. It was 107, revised slightly to 111, expected 149, came out at 140. So it wasn't doing very well. And also, the jobs openings came out at 8.86, right? It was 9.03, got revised down to 8.89. Expected a drop, came out at 8.86. right? So around that range. So I'm just considering these two factors together, and also yesterday's employment number didn't have yesterday's unemployment claims number from the US, a weekly number, didn't have a big jump. And in fact, if you look at it, the week before was not very good as well at 215, right? So I'm just thinking that we might see a bit of a retracement in the overall non-farm employment change numbers. But although we have that, we'll still consider the two scenarios. In a good news scenario, in a bad news scenario, what could happen? Okay, what trade setups to look for. We also have today at 9:30 p.m. the Canadian employment change numbers to be released. Unemployment rate looking to go from 5.7 to 5.8. Employment change from 37.3 to 21.1. Looks like we might see some weakness on the CAD. Average hourly earnings for the US from 0.6 back down to 0.2 on average hourly earnings. That sounds reasonable. And unemployment rate likely to stay at a 3.7%. So maybe looking at some weakness on the dollar. Okay, we'll cover both scenarios. One more headline I want to show you is this morning I was looking at this. Where is it? I could itch neck. Where is it? There we go. That one. 6 hours ago. Right, 6 hours ago when I came in, I was looking at the news, and the Japanese finance minister Suzuki said that risk that raising interest rates could pressure Japan's debt. Right, could pressure debt. So for all the talk over the last 2 days that they could move away from their easing policy, now they come out and say, oh well, you know, raising rates could impact debt, and because of that we saw the yen actually find a bit of a support here to push. This was 6 hours ago. We saw that happen there, right? I'll take that away. That did not trigger. It bounced off the interim support at 147.70 to push to the upside slightly, right? Or to halt the drop to the downside. You all would remember that this was my trade idea from yesterday, or my trade setup from yesterday. I was looking at that kind of trade to the downside to 147.70. It actually would have played out very nicely, but that was the trade gone. Okay, so now let's look at the dollar index. Take that away. It did not bounce. It broke right through. Jamil said pound is a good opportunity to take a trade. You're in a pound to, what are you doing, Jamil? Did you buy it up? Are you looking to buy it up or sell it back down? Let me know. Okay. Here we go. Move that to the side. Now on the dollar index, it's dropped all the way. It's found this interim support level. Let me just fulfill a bit of a curiosity. Just a bit curious. So you look at that. From the bottom here, right up to the top there, we've just seen the dollar. So we had that interim level here because of these points, and we've seen the dollar come right down to this 50% level and paused, right? It's dropped right down to 50. So we've just remember this point here and this dotted line there. So it came right down to 50 and it's paused on the long term 50% retracement level. Maybe could bounce from here. It all comes down to what's going to happen on the non-farm employment change number. Okay, Jamil's looking to sell on the pound dollar. Now, I'm going to do this a little bit differently. Oops, what's happening here? Wait. Okay, I'm going to do this a little bit differently. Today is the March the 8th, but we are looking at a non-farm employment change scenarios. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll look for good news scenarios, bad news scenarios, what could happen. I also want to note my 60% is 61.8 is at 1.102.28. I think it's a good area there. Okay. And then looking at this, I'm going to check the short-term move to the downside. All right, and then so it doesn't push anything. I want to check this move as well. Okay, so that support turned resistance is there, and that move doesn't, it's about there. Okay. So now I'm looking at this. It's a bit odd to see the dollar pushing back up right now with the non-farm employment change data to be released. Let me just measure this out. Not a big move there. 50, okay. What I would like to see, what I'm looking out for, is for the dollar. I'm not going to do anything right now, but I'm looking for it to climb back up towards this area, right? And then from that point, you know, also over now, between now to 9, the next 6 hours, climb up to this point. On release of the non-farm employment change number, we could see it reverse from this point back down or bounce back up quite significantly. The last time we had this in Feb the 2nd, Feb the 2nd at 300 plus. Let's see what happened. Feb 2nd, it's right at the same level. Right? So, right, we're looking for it to come back up here. Now, if you look at Feb the 2nd, we were here as well. Back to this same point. Back to this same level. And because of a 353K NFP, we saw the dollar index push very significantly to the upside. Okay, so what I'm looking, so coming back to the current again, I want to see it come back up towards 103. All right, so we're going to see, well, wait for data, but I want to see, look for reaction at 103 resistance level. Jimmy is asking for Aussie Kiwi. Yes, we can do that. Look for reaction at 103 resistance level. On a good news scenario, strong NFP, we could see the DXY climb to the, I would say even to that 61.8 level, so about 103.70. 103.70. Right, a strong NFP, what I mean by that is it has to be greater than about maybe about 250. Okay. Again, remember guys, this is a news planning, data release planning, so it's really running the probabilities. I'm not saying this is a definite thing. Please remember, please be extra careful. If you're not used to trading the news, it might be the best idea to stay away. Jamil says DXY is so strong, it's strong. Diana says I would watch 103.15. It might reject from there to down. Yeah. Okay, so wait a second. Now if we have a weak NFP, and with that I'm thinking a less than 160, 150, 150K, we could see DXY reject, okay, DXY break through and climb to one, reject and drop to 102.16. Yep, 102.11, sorry. To 102.11 or 10. I like to round it. Okay, so what I'm looking for, again, in summary of the first chart, is for the dollar index now to climb up towards this point. So it's going to push up a little bit more. Diana's looking for it to get to about 103.15, which is about there. That's fair. Okay, so in this area, I'm looking for a reaction on release of the news. Very good news scenario. We'll see that push up. I think that on a very good news scenario, it could push up quite significantly towards that point. And then if it's a terrible news as below 150, I would even say 140. I want it to be more terrible. Then we could see it reverse from here back down. Okay, so we have our two scenarios here for the dollar index waiting for the release of the NFP. Jamil's making money already. It's dropped a little bit, bounced back up, sitting right there. Good stuff. Now looking at the Kiwi dollar, did not trigger. Take that away. Remove that for now. So it's broken 61. It's broken all my levels. I can take that away. Okay. Now, looking at this, I would not. Okay, we have this previous high point here. In fact, what I'll do is I'll change this as my interim. I'll put this as my resistance. Now, if the Kiwi dollar, if the dollar index weakens further and the Kiwi pushes up towards this point, there's a previous swing high here. What you would be looking at is a trade example of 30 pips, right? Even if you went all the way to the next previous high, it would be a 70 pips at that 61.8 level. I think that while that's possible on dollar weakness scenario, what I'm actually thinking is that could we see a dollar strength scenario pushing it right back down to this point, right? And that's where we saw that happen on the 2nd of Feb. I'm just thinking now with this, again, very similar to yesterday, I would say below 6155. 6155. Stop loss 20 pips. You can do 30 above that previous high. Right back down to almost 80 pips to the downside. Okay, so I'll look for that on a dollar strength scenario for the Kiwi dollar. So Kiwi 6155 20 to 80, same thing. We put that at 30. And then we look at this on a DXY strength scenario. Okay, so again, Kiwi dollar, I'm looking that if the non-farm payrolls or non-farm employment change comes out at above 250K, we might see the dollar strength come back into play, which could lead to the Kiwi dollar reversing from this high down from 6155, 30 pips stop loss, 80 pips take profit to the downside. Then onto the Aussie dollar, right? It's broken that high, so we can take that away. 38.2 is done. 61.8 is there. So you can see to get up to that 61.8 and that previous high, we have about 100 pips, right? We have about 100 pips to the upside from a little bit higher. Okay, so I'm looking at about, I think to be safer, not extra safe, you could be looking at somewhere there. Okay, so I would be looking at a trade like that, 70 pip stop loss, tight, very tight here, no more than 20. Okay, so Aussie dollar, I would be thinking on a dollar weakness scenario, right? If it comes out below 140K, we could be looking at the Aussie dollar pushing significantly to the upside, breaking above that 50% retracement level towards that 61 and that previous swing high level. I'll be looking to buy from 6655. Stop loss 25 pips. Take profit 70 pips to the upside. Okay, so where am I? Okay, we're looking to buy at 0.6655. Stop loss 25. Take profit 70. This is on DXY weakness. Right, we spoke about this yesterday with that buy or sell opportunity right at this resistance level, now turned support. Someone was messaging on the Discord channel about whether I was in the trade because that was something I was watching. But I thought, you know, with the NFP coming out today, with the stream pending, I wanted to wait out and see after the stream, but I think now it'll be possibly waiting for the non-farm payrolls data release. And then with that, down to the yen. And okay, remember that why I'm planning it this way is, yes, I'm looking at this as a counter trend scenario. I'm looking at the Euro, at the Aussie as a trend following scenario to the upside. The Euro is falling, according to Surin just told me. Euro is falling. I'm getting slightly distracted, but never mind. So when I plan the scenarios for a news event, I also want to try and follow the trend, right? So for example, if I'm expecting dollar strength, I wouldn't be looking to buy the yen up. All right, I'll be looking to sell it down on a dollar weakness scenario. So in this case, what I'm looking at here is for it to break dollar weakness. Look for the yen to break below 147.70 to sell it down. That's a 61.8. That's why it's paused there. We have an interim with a big support here at 61.8 again. So what I'll be looking for on the US yen, 147.50, stop loss 40 pips. Take profit could be a massive 145 to the downside. Okay, so this is on a dollar weakness scenario. I'm looking for the US yen to break below 147.50, 145 pips, take profit, 40 pips stop loss to the downside on a dollar weakness scenario. US yen, I'm looking to sell at 147.50, stop loss 40, take profit 145. This is on DXY weakness. Okay, now let's get to the interesting thing that's probably distracting all of us right now. The pound and the euro. That did not trigger. Take that away for the pound first. Right, we were talking about this, that it looks toppish. It looks like it could reverse. It looks like we were looking to sell it down. We were talking about that yesterday. It did not trigger. Jamil's in it already to sell down. If I did that, right, we're still looking at it sitting there. I think that yes, we have that big resistance there. So I'm thinking that yes, you could go in early like Jamil and sell it right now. You could look for that. But I think a safer option, so this is the early option. You could look to sell down now. Stop loss 30 pips, right? And take profit could be, no, it wouldn't be all the way down, but it could be quite significant to the downside. If you entered now and you held it through, you'll be gambling through a data release. Not typically my style. So yes, I do think it's heading, it could have the chance to head down. I think the safer play would be data release, stronger dollar pushing down, give it a bit of time, break below 23.6. So we're looking at about 21.2765. Stop loss no more than 25 pips. Take profit, you could have 60. And if it breaks, we could actually see a big drop lower. Your first take profit would be 60. You could look at a further move or move further to the downside as well. Okay, so I'll put that in first. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, so I'm looking at that. Fantastic. 1.27 looks like the same thing. 1.2765. Okay, so pound we're looking to sell 1.2765, 25 pip stop loss, 60 pip take profit towards that 1.27 round number level. 1.2765. Stop loss 25, take profit 60 to the downside. And this is on a DXY strength scenario. Perfect. I like it when Jamil is happy with my trade setup. So we shall see how that plays out. And then on to the euro. That Herein is probably trading right now. Again, it broke past 50. Take these away. We have 61.8 right there as the resistance. I was tempted. I don't think we need that as well. All right. I was tempted to think that. While planning the session today, I was tempted to think that we could sell the euro back down. Right? 61.8 is right there. We could sell it back down. But I'm actually thinking, what if it does not do that? Dollar strength to push this up. One factor to think about is I like how it's reacted to that short-term trend line from yesterday. Could it again come back down? Could it again come back down to this point and push up towards that resistance level? Okay, so what I would be looking at in this case would be about 109.05, stop loss 30 pips, take profit 75 to the upside as a test and bounce. It could even go a little bit lower, or the alternative would be a big push to the upside if it breaks out of that resistance. So alternatively, it could look like 1.1, take profit 80, almost 80 pips to the upside, stop loss about 30 pips, like that. Now, the consideration I have is whether it's going to drop that much down to the trend line and this support level. And if it does, then a bad NFP is going to push it up and break through. And I think that is fair, especially if it breaks past at 61.8. Okay, so if it does this and come down and bounce, look at this trade. If it sits around here and pushes up, then you can look at that trade. We're looking at this on a dollar weakness scenario. So euro, I can be looking to buy up from 1.09, 30 pip stop loss, 75 pip take profit first. Or I'm looking to buy at 1.1, 30 pip stop loss, 80 pip take profit following on. Okay, so euro, I'm looking to buy 1.09, 05, 30 to 75. 1.09, 05, stop loss 30, take profit 75. Or I'm looking to buy at 1.10, stop loss 30, take profit 80. Profit 80. Okay, and these are all a consideration if we see the dollar index weakness. It's got resistance at 109.47 or 1950. 109.50. Where is it? 109.50. That's fair. I have it at 109.80. I think as an area, that resistance area makes sense. Should be okay. That point, that whole thing should be a resistance area, so you can trade up to that. Now, with that. Then onto the US Swiss franc, again did not trigger, pushing lower, right? So again, look, we have strength scenario, weakness, weakness, strength, weakness. We're covering the scenarios there for the news release on the US Swiss franc at this point. Again, it looks like it's right in the middle. That's a bit of a resistance here. We could look at this pushing lower. We could look at this pushing lower from that recent short-term trend. So what you could be looking at here is below 8765. Stop loss 20 pips, take profit 40 to the downside. I'm not a big fan, you all know already, I'm not a big fan of the US Swiss franc. So I'll just have that as a bit of a directional bias. US Swiss franc on dollar weakness scenario, we'll look to sell it down from 0.8. We'll look to sell it down from 0.8765, 20 to 40 to the downside. 8765, stop loss 20, take profit 40 to the downside on dollar weakness scenario. Okay, on to the US CAD. We've done very well there. Anyone else got onto US CAD 40 pips to the downside? Let me know. That was a very nice setup. At this point, look at that. Look at what has happened over the last few times. It came down to that 61.8 level. It's bounced, bounced, came close and bounced, came close and bounced. So what I'll be looking out for here would be the potential for a bounce. Okay, that one's done. We can take that away. Thank you, Diana. So what I'll be looking out for here is the potential of a bounce back up towards the resistance level. Very similar to what has happened over the last couple of times. What I'll be looking for would be 1.3455, stop loss 25, take profit a good 85 pips to the upside, right? It needs to bounce off back up. So here again on the US CAD, on the loonie, would be to buy at 1.3555 if I'm 3455. All right, stop loss 20, take profit 85. Was it 85? Yes, 25 to 85. Okay. There we go. And that's on the DXY strength scenario. Right, why I think that also because that we're anticipating some potential weakness on the Canadian employment number. So weakness on the Canadian, some strength on the dollar could push it back up from that support level. And then Jimmy was asking about the Aussie Kiwi. Aussie Kiwi scaling to the upside, breaking above a near-term high, coming up towards that. I think I have this there as that 50% level. And once it gets to 50%, it gets a bit messy and choppy. What I would probably think about in this scenario, not something I would do during the news, right? But maybe into next week, would be a potential reaction along 1.08 for a rejection back down. Like that. All right. So that's what I'll be looking out for. Jimmy, I hope that answers your question on the Aussie Kiwi. And then on to gold. Zoom it in. Sitting right in that consolidation at this point. We were talking about this yesterday, looking for a bit of a retracement back down. Did not retrace, still in that consolidation. Can it go higher? Yes, why not? It could go higher. Should you try and trade it higher? You can, but just be very wary that it's at a very high level. Right? If you look at it on the daily time frame, we haven't had anything higher. On the monthly time frame, we're at all-time highs. So it is going to get choppy right at the top there. All right, it's currently at 2160. There are a lot of people calling for 2200. I don't think you'll get there in a flash. I think that 2175 would be a reasonable target level to get to first. Right, so it's sitting in that consolidation. If the dollar does weaken, then we might see that push up. Actually, I'll put that back. But I will still maintain this view that it could retrace from this consolidation if we see that dollar weakness come back into play. Right? But maybe a retrace and then a retest of a new high. So I think that it could come down to 21.26 and then bounce higher to 21.75. There we go. Okay. Any further questions? A lot of different scenarios that we're looking at here for today with the non-farm to be released. A lot of unknowns with the non-farm. It could go either way with the data release. So please be extra careful. And if you have any questions, the link for the Discord channel is there for you guys to make sure you join. If you haven't already, in the meantime, and those of you who are not used to trading in news, probably good to sit out. And then please have a super weekend. Please trade well, trade safe. Take care now. Bye-bye.